Hello and welcome. I'm Andy Jones, and today I'm going to be taking a look at Nightwish's performance of Swanheart from the From Wishes to Eternity concert. And I remember watching this show as a student around 21 years old on my stay abroad in Germany, and I had this on my tiny TV with no external speakers and was just completely blown away by the whole thing. And it's time I watched that whole show in one go again, I think. But this was one of the highlights of that for me. And it's a shame that they don't play it anymore. I'd love to see a live version of this. That would be an absolute goal for me. But in the meantime, we have this beautiful version here to look at with Tarja on vocals. We have Sami on bass and we have Jukka on drums. And as always, of course, we have Tuomas on keyboards and we have Empu on electric guitar. I want to jump in pretty quickly with this, but let me just remind you also, if you've been enjoying my content or you're just getting to know me and you'd like to see more, please do hit the subscribe button on the channel. It's a real help to me and it will hopefully help to keep you in contact with what I'm doing. And hit the notifications bell so that you know when premieres are coming and you can be online with me in the chat. And please do also consider subscribing to me on Twitch, because starting very soon, I'm going to be doing weekly live streams on Twitch with live reactions. And this is your chance to kind of propose songs for me to react to on my streams. So maybe that's something that you'd like to have a look at as well. And I do have a new Discord server. I'll put a link to that in the notes for the video, so you can connect with me there. And also there's a dedicated Nightwish thread that you can join and chat about Nightwish songs there with me. But for now, let's jump in. This is Nightwish playing Swanheart in Tampere on the From Wishes to Eternity DVD. Let's do this. Okay, so firstly at the beginning we've just got Tuomas and Tarja together starting the song for the first minute. So it's just the two of them, and beautiful clear string effects from Tuomas. Sounds great, and you can really easily hear the transition from note to note. And Tarja sounds beautiful. What I really like about this version, on the album version and also on her solo live version, in the last part that we've just heard there, the Be My Heart a Well of Love part, she goes an octave higher and makes it more intense. Now here, she holds back. She stays in a lower octave, and I really like that. It resonates with me because it just feels more emotional. It's a little bit calmer, but that works with the lyrics. You know, be my heart a well of love flowing free, so far above. Okay, far above could be a higher octave, but this, you know, a well of love, just this kind of tranquility, the peace of it. I really like it that it's lower. And yeah, lyrically, we should talk about that. You know, this image of beautiful people, porcelain models, wanting to make them fall. It feels almost like this kind of self-inadequacy that a lot of people feel, and when they compare themselves, for example, with celebrities out on social media today. I know social media wasn't as big back in 2000 as it is today, but it's certainly not lost in relevance, and it probably resonates with a lot of listeners if they make that connection too. Okay, let's carry on. Hate to pause again, but I wanted to mention this before as well. I keep saying that Tuomas is like the master of the suspended fourth chord, and he is. There's been a couple of instances of that in just that first part of the song. So if you're into that kind of thing, just listen in. You'll hear a couple of suspended fourths that really add to the tension. This time, we're going to carry on. There were just a couple of teasers of Yuka's snare drum there. I don't know whether that was intentional or by accident, but there were just a couple of tiny little snare pops there that I wasn't expecting. Love the arpeggiated piano, beautiful transition from the strings to the piano, and those lovely little fills in between. Beautiful melodic touches to just add a little bit more color to the lines that they're playing there. So yeah, fantastic. And up to there, it's still just Tuomas and Tarja. And now it's going to get more interesting with the rest of the band. But listen in and just see if you can notice who's missing. And I've got to pause there because in a second, the person that was missing is going to appear. The answer is not Troy, because Troy, of course, was not in the band yet at this point. So out of the 5 band members on stage, and of course, I haven't mentioned this, we've got Tarja on vocals. Of course, we've got Tuomas on keyboards, Empu on guitar, and here we have Yuka on drums and Sami on bass. And Sami is very, very far back in the mix, I have to say, and it is a bit of a shame that we don't really hear what he's doing very much, but he is there, and so is everybody else, with the exception of Empu. 2 minutes into this song, which is only 4 minutes long, and Empu's still not started yet. And he's going to become instrumental for the rest of the song. So the fact that he's not here yet does not really say much about his impact on the song, because his impact as of now is going to be huge. And you'll see why in a minute. So this louder verse here, Tarja has moved up into a higher register. She's pushing it more now. And lyrically interesting as well. In My World, Love is for Poets. Never the famous balcony scene, and there's the Romeo and Juliet reference that kind of this romanticism is eluding them. And what's interesting there also is just how they managed to kind of fit the word balcony in there. They've got to kind of, change the emphasis of the word a little bit. She's kind of singing it more as kind of balcony scene. But that's poetic license. You can do that. It's Tuomas and Tarja, it's no problem. But it's just fun how they managed to squeeze it in there. Okay, so now we're going to hear Empu finally join the mix. Let's do it. And before we get into the guitar solo, because the rest of the piece is kind of just one long segment that we have to look at bit by bit, 2 things stick out to me here. Firstly, this is my first indication that I've ever heard, I think, that Tuomas is not superhuman and that he is capable of making a mistake. I don't think I've ever noticed that before, but I just noticed one of the string notes was very slightly off, and then he corrected it very quickly. So I'll play that back to you, can listen in, and there's just that one little string note that's off. This shows me that Tuomas is in fact human and is capable of making mistakes, something that I'd never thought was possible. And then we get into the vocals, beautiful soaring vocals by Tarja. The lyrics are interesting. There's the first, as far as I can remember, the first mention of the lawn here. What is it? Crystal pond awaits the lawn. And I remember talking in my review of Dead Boy's poem about this line of hold the lawn spoken by the boy. And that, of course, was recorded later than Swanheart, but this shows also another theme then in the lyrics. And I'm not sure if that's the first ever mention of the lawn. I'd have to think back to the earlier recordings, but yeah, it's the first one that I can remember at least. Okay, let's take us back and then we'll get into the solo. so much right with all of that. I've got to take you back and look at the guitar solo first because it's beautiful. And what I want to mention is that Empu also remains a lead guitarist from that point up to the end. He's not playing any more chords from that point onwards. It's solo and then it's lead guitar work also under the vocals, or next to the vocals, I should say. Fantastic. And what I want you to listen for when you hear the guitar solo are a couple of things. I haven't given Jukka enough love yet. Jukka is fantastic on this, and he slows it down a couple of times where it's really unpredictable as to when he's going to kind of join next, but fantastic. And under the solo, he is synced so well with Empu. At the beginning of the second half, there's a little passage of 3 notes that on the original album is kind of joined together legato style. So it's da da da. Here, he kind of does it in a more staccato way. He's kind of like pew pew pew, and Jukka is playing those 3 notes together with Empu on the drums. So not that Empu is playing the drums together with Jukka, but Jukka on the drums is accompanying Jukka's 3 notes on the guitar, exactly on the beat. And what's really cool about that little story is that when my daughter was 2, my older daughter, she was learning about animals, and we have a lovely Mexican friend who was teaching her about animals, and she imitated the sound of birds in Mexican Spanish as being piao piao piao. So my daughter called birds piao piaos for a long time because of that. And those 3 guitar notes played in this style actually sound like this kind of bird call, this piao piao piao. And what I like about that is, you know, with it being connected to the swan, it's almost like a bird call on the guitar. And I'm not sure whether that's intentional, but it really connects some dots for me and it sounds perfect. And then we get into the vocal part at the end. Fantastic, beautiful, soaring vocals by Tarja. And the actual kind of scale of the notes is not complicated, but these are hard notes to sing and they're high. So Tarja is, you know, majestic with those notes, fantastic. And Empu, between the lines, he's found his spaces and he's filling them with beautiful little melodies. Just really making the most of every bit of space that's there. So it's almost like a kind of dual lead between vocals and guitar. And this isn't the only time that happens on the Oceanborn album. It also appears in Pharaoh Sails to Orion at the very end there. And I know this is a bit of a spoiler because I've not reviewed that yet, but I'll come to that at some point. And pretty much exactly the same interplay between vocals and guitar happens there too. So also quite consistent, at least as a theme on the album. So fantastic. Jukka at the end, you know, really slows down the pace. It's almost like I want to play air drums, but I can't because I don't know exactly when the next beat is going to come. But fantastic slowing down. At the end there, just a really, really beautiful performance. I've got to take you back to watch that solo and that ending again. Two more little things that I want to mention about Empu's guitar playing just at the end there. Firstly, there's a part of the vocal line that he actually also doubles by playing the lower octave underneath the vocals. And it's just for a couple of seconds, but it's wonderful. And then he goes back to playing his own parts. And what I really like about that very last chord at the end is that Empu starts it on the 5th note of the chord and then goes up to the higher root note on the octave. Fantastic ending. And just on the whole, a really beautiful performance. Wow, I'm so glad I reconnected with that song. It's been ages, it's been too long, so it was time. So thank you to those in the comments who suggested this song. I'm really glad I checked it out again. And I am planning my next Nightwish reviews right now. I'm going to be looking at one of the 5 songs that was also covered by Crewish. And if you don't know who Crewish are, they are actually Nightwish's stage crew for the tours. And they, of course, are unable to work at the moment due to the pandemic. So they've been productive. They've recorded 5 Nightwish songs in completely different versions. And I'm going to start reviewing some of those. In fact, reacting to them because I haven't listened to them yet. And I'm doing a poll on my Discord server to decide which one to start with. So if you're interested in casting a vote there, please do look in the description for this video and you will see the link to my Discord server there where you can join. You can go into the Nightwish chat thread that's just been set up, and you can also cast your vote on this poll. So please do stay in contact. My social media channels are all listed on here. If you really enjoy what I do, please consider stopping by my Patreon site and pledging €1 every month. That will give you instant access to all my videos as soon as they're finished. They get uploaded straight away for you on Patreon, and it's a real help in keeping this content running and also keeping the technology as up to date as I possibly can to make it better for you. So thank you for watching. I look forward to the next time. Until then, stay well. Bye-bye.